Calgary is home to hundreds of nonprofit organizations, making our city a great place to live. Let us introduce you to our friends Bike Calgary on this week's City Spotlight.
Bike Calgary is a volunteer-run organization that is aiming to make cycling better for all Calgarians around the city. We focus on three main portions of work: advocacy, education, and community building. And so advocacy is really primarily working with the city, but also with community associations and other groups to help let the city know that we need budget for cycling infrastructure, help get good projects designed and built, make sure that the cyclists of Calgary are communicating what they need to the city. And we partner with community associations, figure out what they want to see in their communities, and let the city know what the community associations are looking for in terms of cycling infrastructure. In regards to education, Bike Calgary runs a commuter cycling skills course, which is aimed at adults who already know how to ride, who are looking for greater comfort and confidence in riding in infrastructure in the city of Calgary. So how do you use the bike lanes? How do you use cycle tracks? How do you transition from the pathways onto the roadways? Ideally, we would like infrastructure that doesn't need a special training program. But until that happens, we want to make sure that cyclists are comfortable and confident in riding safely in their city. Bike Calgary is always looking for additional volunteers. We're always looking for people that have an interest in cycling, connection to their community, a little bit of an interest in urban planning. We try to put all of our information on our website, bikecalgary.org, and you can follow us on social media at Bike Calgary on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Bike Calgary strives to make Calgary a great place for all bikers through advocacy, education, and community. And we think that's pretty cool. Visit cjsw.com/city to view our full collection of city spotlights.
The idea is to share the road, just like motorists had to once share the roadway to make these cycle tracks in the first place for cyclists. So transportation thinks it's a good idea. Certainly Shane Keating thinks it's a good idea, even if he's getting some blowback from some cyclists. But Bike Calgary, for one, says there shouldn't be too much complaining, because really it comes down to finding the place on our roadways for people traveling near the same speed. And that's what's important, not how they're traveling.
We've already got infrastructure sidewalks that are for walking speeds, 3 to 10 kilometers an hour. We've got roadways for the sort of 40, 50 kilometer an hour range. What had been missing were the 20 to 30 kilometer an hour range that we see in cycle tracks. With that new infrastructure there that's been around for several years now, bikes can travel very conveniently without having to interact with pedestrians or with motor vehicles. But it's not just bikes that travel in that speed.
work will be underway. It will start today and hopefully be finished by October 31st. Now, here's an interesting juncture right here, because the cycle track, one in each direction, will suddenly turn on 7th Avenue, get on the sidewalk and share with pedestrians before going down Riverfront Lane. Gary Millard of Bike Calgary joining us now. First off, big picture, how positive is this? And secondly, what do you think about this juncture of the bike path?
Certainly adding cycling infrastructure to the network is a great benefit for us, and increasing transportation options for Calgarians. We're happy with this project in general, absolutely.
And then when you take it a step further, you don't necessarily like the two coming together here?
Well, the reality is we've got to try and squeeze new cycling infrastructure into an existing road development. And so what's happening here is you're going to be putting cyclists right on the sidewalk with pedestrians. And that sort of mixing always complicates things a little. It takes people a while to figure out how to behave there. And so we hope it goes smoothly. We hope there's good signage and wayfinding. Ideally, it would be great to keep them separated. But in an existing space like this, we have to deal with what we've got.
I guess that's the problem when you take existing space, existing roadways, and try to put new modes on that. Going forward, you would like to see the city maybe do a little better job of thinking ahead?
Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to transportation engineering, we'd like it to be more than just car engineering. We'd like for the transportation engineers to make sure that they look at all modes of transport, and not just adding in cycling, but adding in scooters and adding in pedestrians.
How important is it for cyclists not to just to get to work, but even on weekends, get a safe path through the river pathway system?
Well, it's really important for people to be able to make transportation choices that are safe and accessible, no matter what that choice is and no matter who they are. So we want to see all ages and abilities accommodated for cycling, for walking, for driving, that sort of thing. And more, we're seeing that the downtown core, certainly in the East Village area, trying to turn it into a destination, a place to come to as opposed to a place to drive through.